All right, Gary, what are we playing this week?
Well, cool. As you know, sometimes we get a little flack for not understanding the gaming backgrounds of different cultures.
True. Yeah, we've been called very insensitive at times.
Yeah, and it's just we can only speak our own truth. We only have our own background, and everything. But I'm going to try to rectify that. So I have right here, hefted onto the table, the Big Book of British Cultural Terms.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's a big random encyclopedia of it's not random. It doesn't start as random.
I was going to say this is very poorly laid out.
Yeah, it's not just it's actually I had them custom make it, so we don't have to actually flip to a random page. It's just the first page will be random.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is going to be, we're going to learn about like Thatcherism and Brexits and second Brexit and all those things.
Yeah.
Just if we just open it up. We're gonna find all these terms. We're gonna find out what these mean. I'm gonna flip open this first page.
I hope I find out what Cheerio means.
I'm looking for a pram. Okay, David Cameron.
Oh, is that the guy that fucked the pig's head?
I think so. I don't know. It's here. Let's read the entry here. Fucked pig's head. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Checks out.
Let me look down here. This guy's been in a game, Cole.
Oh, weird. Is this like a where like Bernie Sanders recorded like an album kind of thing?
Yeah, I thought we were gonna have to play Billy Thatcher, the Billy Hatcher sequel with Margaret Thatcher.
Yeah, where he shuts down all those mines. Yeah,
but unfortunately, luckily for us, looks like this Cameron guy was in a game called NotGTAV 5.
Oh, or GTA 5? That's weird. Somebody would suggest that.
NotGTAV.
GTAV.
Yeah, it's not GTAV.
Get ready for us not to talk about this.
I was very culturally bewildered at this.
Okay.
This game. Me, Gary Butterfield was.
You, Gary Butterfield.
Yeah.
I felt like I had a little bit more of a footing. Me, Cole Ross.
I don't know very much about this stuff, and I feel bad because I realize I try not to be so Americentric about stuff. So I don't maintain that like just American politics are important or anything. However, I have not put in the effort, or do not have the time, or have not put in the effort, whether you want to demonize me or excuse me, to keep up with this stuff,
right?
From other cultures. So I'm sure this is funny.
But I mean, I don't think that it is.
Okay.
Like, I knew who David Cameron is. Like, he's the he was
he fucked a pig.
What's that?
He fucked a pig.
Yo, yeah, like that should always be the first thing anybody says about David Cameron,
because he's a bad guy,
right? Like he's just real hapless kind of guy, like just the like leader of the Conservative Party, I guess. He's the one who like kowtowed to oh gosh, what's the UKIP pressure to do the Brexit thing, like saying like, all right, we'll make it a 50-50 referendum, in and out, he said, thinking of a pig's head, in or out. Yeah. And then like he's the one who kind of like started that. I don't know enough. Like, people seemed real sad about Brexit. A lot of people in the community were really upset about it. Like, I just learned about it when John Oliver did the piece on it, so like it's hard for me to like make a categorical statement about it. But like David Cameron as like the Tory leader is not very well regarded, much in the same way a Republican president would be subject of our scorn, I believe.
I mean, I will, based just entirely on context clues from people who I trust to be kind of in the right place with that stuff on Twitter. Like, I'm pretty sure it's no good.
Right.
So, the Brexit being no good, this guy being no good. Yeah. Like that's the awareness I have of this. Not enough to actually get like if there are jokes going on in here.
I would call it a gumming satire, is what I would say.
Okay.
It is
kind
distinctly
of well
British. Oh, really?
Yeah, like it's not hated. Like the reviews are decent on Steam. People, there are reviews elsewhere. Like the rock paper shotgun review of it is like, this is fun.
Yeah.
This is good and funny. So I just had, and I think Jim Sterling is like into it as well. Like I feel like there are people who have a better British background than me. Like actually this works on, but I have no background in this or GTA 5, which I like haven't played, so I don't know. I'm missing all the GTA 5 jokes. Which
there are none. The only GTA connection is that you're doing crimes and you have a like a notoriety meter. Except when you're playing as David Cameron, it is electability or unelectability or something like that, and it goes up as you mow down liberals in your car. Yeah. So we haven't described the show or what the premise is, Gary.
Of this show or this game? Of
this show. We haven't said, hey, like this is epic suffering.
Oh yeah. We play bad. I mean, I don't know. We do whatever we want. It doesn't matter. This is the show where we do whatever we want. People pick bad games and then we play them.
Right.
And then like whatever we were planning to do anyway happens, but sometimes it's influenced by like what we just played,
by the thing that we played for 30 minutes. Almost uniformly the games that are recommended are either weird or bizarre. Just because a game is on the list doesn't mean it's bad. Just like this probably succeeds at what it's trying to do. This is another Surg joint, and it was a random one, so Surg got 2 in a month. But it says, once upon a time, a small company released a game praying for a lawsuit or attention from Rockstar, putting it out around the time of GTA 5's PC release. It didn't get anything and thus failed as controversy bait and as a game. So of course I bought a bunch of copies and sent you 2 of them. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, it is. It was the top selling Steam game for a little while.
Yes.
It was on sale for 74 cents and all proceeds of it went to charity.
Yes.
Which is like, very, like, I mean, I feel like these guys are probably politically in a place I'm sympathetic to.
Right. It's a pretty cool charity too. It's like so they're over in Britain, obviously. It's like a youth theater charity. Like it was or like a youth theater organization. And like this whole studio is like made up of a bunch of folks who just wanted to make this game to like raise money for this thing because that is where they met. Like they all used to act in this kind of company that was, funded by donations.
Yes, I can dig that.
Yeah.
And they're making fun of, conservative political people, which I'm on board for. And they're making fun of GTA 5, which like I'm generally on board for. I haven't played GTA 5, but like the series on its own is like, I feel like I've kind of aged out of a little bit. At the very least, like someday we'll do a GTA for WoW, and like there's joy to be found in those games. Like it's not like it's a slog, but 100% the kind of writing and humor part of these I am over.
Oh yeah.
In a big bad way.
GTA 5 is fine. But like I agree with you, like the whole David Hauser thing or the Sam Hauser kind of aesthetic, it very much falls into the South Park kind of thing for me.
Yeah.
It's a very similar story. Like we would probably hear a lot of similar points, which is like it's not really satire, it's just saying, that's dumb.
Yes.
Or doing the same thing over and, just kind of like presenting that thing as if it were scathing. Like I said, gumming, right?
Yeah. And that's leaving aside the fact that like, GTA 5 for me, again, from what I've read and looked at and everything, like seems like it's pretty reprehensible as far as like stuff with women. There's a lot of like, I don't know, yelling at characters about blowjobs and shit like that pop up. Like I feel like it's probably not very good as far as that goes.
I played it fairly recently. Like I did a big playthrough in first person mode when they re-released it for the PS4. Again, it's fine. Like I'm sensitive to that stuff, but like in Grand Theft Auto, like it is, I am in a privileged position where I can just kind of choose to ignore that or like look at it as a wallpaper for the series.
Yeah. I mean, they want to present it, I think, as like they want to have it both ways where they're kind of like, we're making fun of that. Well, it's like you're engaging in the thing.
Cool.
You're also engaging in the thing you're making fun of.
Yeah.
Which I dislike. So, and that's all. And this is, and then the most recent GTA I played was 4, which I think is kind of straight up bad.
Yeah.
So like, I'm not whatever this is. And this opens with a very long South Park scroll, kind of warning you that it's going to be a certain thing, and that kind of bums me out. Like it feels a little bit like hey, we're too bad for TV,
Uncensored podcasts. Yeah.
Exactly. It feels a little bit like it hasn't made it past the video game censor board.
These aren't your grandma's podcasts. Oh no!
Exactly.
My mom saw me playing Dead Space 2. Yeah.
Oh no, Mom.
No moms allowed here in the Dead Space
It's called a welding
Club.
gun. Yeah.
See, you get it because they're tools. Oh, you wouldn't understand.
Yeah, because you're a tool.
And then you turn on your Tool album.
I'm sober. So what this actually is Snake.
It's Snake.
It's Snake with like a bunch of different kinds of variants of it. And that's it.
Yep. So
it's hand drawn.
Oh, everything is hand drawn. All the sound effects are mouth sounds, not the Neil Cicierega.
Somebody.
I can't say mouth sounds anymore.
Nope.
I suppose.
I suppose.
Oh, fuck. Man, it's been a while since I've been able to say all that without but yeah, like it's all people going brrr, and I'll always be down for that. Like I just for some reason that delights me. And even like the shitty like hand drawn like I don't even think the assets were scanned. I think they were photographed with a cell phone and like just kind of like erased around in paint. Like it's super funny how low effort this appears.
And Snake is not bad,
right?
Like Snake is a time trusted, game that I don't hate.
But like, there's no reason for it to be Snake because your tail never gets long enough for it to be an issue.
And if you hit your tail, you're in trouble. But if other things hit your tail, you're not.
Right. It's fine.
So like one of the variants is like things come after you, like your wanted level goes up or whatever. Mm-hmm. And things come after you. And then during this entire time, there are little sound samples that are like just jokes I just don't understand.
Yeah.
Like, it is just like, boy, this really has the cadence of something that's supposed to be humorous. But like, I don't understand why it's funny that this guy runs a store. like
pick up all the horse-free products. Like, are they talking about IKEA? Because this isn't an IKEA.
It's not. Somebody looked that up, and somebody thought it was horse armor, but it's referencing a very specific like British news thing.
Huh.
Like it's so British in a way that like I have no point of reference for it. And like every single person I've met who is British is great.
Oh yeah.
Like there's no
yep. Oh, the obvious defense. I've got British friends. Okay.
I've got British friends, man.
Okay.
Some of my best friends are British.
Yeah.
If I saw a British girl, I would kiss her if she wanted me to. It's like if I brought if my daughter brought home a British man, I'd welcome him into my bedroom.
Because it
is not because I'm not racist. It is just
I would steal that British man away from my daughter.
Yeah, I would give him kisses. It is just.
I would teach him ecstasy he would never forget.
We would do ecstasy, listen to Crazy Frog, and it'd be amazing. But I didn't understand any jokes in it. I'm like, this is definitely supposed to be a joke. I don't get any of the jokes.
Yeah.
So I just had kind of a boring Snake that like, if you get hit once, you have to restart. And I got
right. At the very least, you restart at the beginning of the most recent segment.
The checkpoint,
and there's no there's no punishment. Like just
no lives.
You never really lose a lot of progress. There's some stuff like when you're being chased by the police helicopter. That's a real bummer because it turns too fast to come after you. But most of the time, it's like. Okay, a couple of different missions where you're either trying to hit stuff or avoid it, and then you get to like a heist where you're going inside of a place and you have to choose either brutal, which gives you a whole bunch of people that you have to kind of like run over, or you have to go stealthy and you have to avoid being touched. Again, just on the head by like security guards or stuff like that. But like you start out in Wales and you're like trying to find sheep to bed and you're chasing away hippies.
Yeah, it has that real like Mad Magazine 1970 kind of
How about this? I've never never in my lifetime has a joke about hating hippies ever landed for me.
No. No. And not just because as I get older I become more hippie like.
Right.
It's not even just that. It's just it's always felt hackneyed to me. And I think it always has just been, like I don't think it's just felt that way to me. I think that it has like never been funny. It's just this kind of weird, legacy joke.
Yeah.
You know, that just kind of it like came with the package. It's like a game maker asset.
Yeah,
that came with everyone's joke vocabulary.
It's like jokes about Polish people. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, I haven't met a lot of Polish people. Being from Northern Ohio, I know
some of my best friends are Polish. My daughter. I
know a lot of people of Polish descent who are really proud of it, and they're fine. But like, what is that?
Yeah, I don't really understand it. The weird, this weird world we inherited from our racist forebears,
right?
Is what it is. And it is confusing.
You know what they say about Armenians? Like what?
Yeah,
what?
Exactly.
What did they say about Armenians? Tell me.
Sure was a shame about that genocide.
No, shit, I forgot about the genocide. Fuck.
Yeah, that's true. I learned about that. I had one of my roommate's girlfriends was an Armenian girl.
Ooh.
And that's how I learned about the Armenian genocide.
Huh.
Like, when I was in my early 20s. But I never would have learned about it from school. Never would have learned about it otherwise.
Right. That happened in our lifetime too, didn't it?
Yeah.
A comedy show.
Yeah. It's just fun. It is ridiculous that like that is how I had to learn about that. Because I don't want to, again, let myself off the hook too much for not like understanding these jokes or these cultural references. But like there is an element of just of our upbringing in this country that is unreasonably
insular.
Yeah, insular. Like
weirdly enough, we don't know about the island because we're too insular.
Yeah. It is it's pretty incredible.
Yeah.
We don't know. And
I like the part about like finding the chavs and stuff. Like I understand chavs from like SA. Like you will read about that. Like something awful has been like my window into these different cultures and stuff. Mm-hmm. So like I know what a chav is, and like that joke kind of landed for me, like going after them. But I don't know. Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I interrupted you. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. We were going round and around. I was just going to say that like, but I lost it now. Now it's gone.
Ah, shit.
It's okay. But I mean, I bet you it was great. It wasn't. I guarantee it wasn't good. But
right.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Anywho, it is. Oh no, I remember thinking when I was younger, and just really being kind of indoctrinated with it, and thinking like, oh, the whole world, like, of course, like kids in England have read this like Abraham Lincoln kid's biography I just read.
Yeah,
he's a great American. Like, why would they not know about him? and then I became an adult and realized like, oh no, like not everybody is as invested in this, and I should probably know more about it. But there's this weird way that feels too late. Like, I don't think it is too late, but it just kind of feels like, man, is it hard enough for me to keep up on, American kind of politics and history? Like, there's so much I don't know about any of that stuff.
Right.
So it's tricky.
It really is. And especially like when in general, like for me, I don't have the energy for it because it always depresses me.
That's true.
And that is a useless statement and a useless sentiment and a useless thing to even internalize, but it's true.
Yeah.
So like I get basically just whatever I get from following the current election cycle, which thank God is almost over.
They're extending it. Did you hear about that?
Oh yeah, that Onion article. Yeah. Like we're extending it by 7 months so you can get to know the candidates better.
Yeah.
But like I get it from that, and then like hardcore history or something like that.
Yeah.
And like that will spark curiosity because I like what Dan like the way he presents that stuff. Like I couldn't give two fucks about the Persian kings, but like when he tells that story, it's good and fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just I have no excuse for it. I'm very like it's kind of funny when you look at like the stuff that we get shit for in general for the network and stuff, and like something like this where it's like, oh, I'm generally pretty ignorant about this. Mm-hmm. It's pretty rare that we get shit about this. We get shit about other things that don't matter. So like it's pretty rare that people call me out on an actual personality flaw, I feel like.
Oh.
Like if someone wanted to be like, oh, that guy's pretty ignorant. Like he doesn't know. It's like, oh, that's true. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Like fair enough.
Yeah.
But instead people get so mad and they feel like they have to call us out about like not liking Tomba. As opposed to something that's actually a problem.
Right. Well, just because most of what we do is adjacent to games, and especially here on this show, like when we don't like a character platformer, or especially when we call out something as feeling like distinctly like British or Euro, like we're talking about games, and just we've known it forever, but like people identify with that, and so like I've been called insufferable. I just okay, fine. Like you probably don't dislike me as much as I dislike me. Hit me with all you got, but like, but like just it is always the game related stuff. And like,
Yeah.
okay, like, but this is, it's our show. Sorry.
Yeah, well, exactly. Yeah. And it's not, I'm not proud of the fact that I don't know anything about
Right.
British British culture or politics,
Mm-hmm.
but I'm fine with the fact that I think that those mascot platformers are pretty shitty.
Right.
So
I mean, that is something that we can say with some measure of certainty. Yeah.
exactly. And so that's where, people are coming at us, and it's the thing I think that they have the least ground to.
Yeah.
And the thing that's least likely to affect me.
Right.
If I guess this is me giving somebody like game facts on how to hurt my feelings, I guess, which is
dismember you, like just
Yeah.
say, okay, like the linchpins that hold me together are here, and here. Now it's
here's
tough.
the how-to guide. Yeah.
Now it's tough to get all of them out at once, but go to ask.fm/
Yeah, exactly. And just a real long thing about how disgusting it is that Americans and you specifically don't know anything about other people's thing, and like that is something I feel like is probably a personal feeling of mine.
Yeah. Well, so in general, right? Like to be curious is to be human to a certain extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And curiosity is one of the reasons why, like, what Donald Trump represents, and again, sorry, like this is like literally one of the last, if not the last episodes that's going to come out before that, but like the incuriosity is one of the things that like infuriates me the most about that man. It's just the complete unwillingness to kind of even expand his sphere of knowledge, right? Like there's a difference between that kind of incuriosity and like, I just haven't come across this or like followed that line of inquiry before.
Well, you have to make
a reason.
Yeah, and you like that's totally true in comparing me to the human monster.
And I'm totally not doing
Donald
that.
Trump. No, I know. Just but the idea that like someone like obviously it's his job to know those things,
right?
And that's why it's ridiculous that he refuses to know them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not just about not coming across it, but it's also just making choices.
Mm-hmm.
Like the time I'm spending not learning about, like not having a full picture of what Brexit is, I'm learning other things instead.
Yeah.
It is not that I'm not weighting those things properly. Like whatever I'm learning instead, like I'm gonna sit down and read about, the Resident Evil novels or something like that, or like some wiki wormhole that I've fallen down. Whatever is probably not as important,
right?
As this other thing. So that's where you can kind of ding me, but it's not a general like approaching life as if I have all of the answers automatically.
Oh yeah.
Which is what I associate with Donald Trump, is just like that kind of confidence I find really odious and disgusting.
Yeah.
In a human. Like I'm generally not attracted to confidence. I'm like I'm not attracted to insecurity either. I think that there's like, there's this kind of a flow state that's like, like quiet confidence I'm pretty into.
Yeah.
Just like somebody who just goes about their business and lets me come to them.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I like this. Like this was my choice to be into this. Like you didn't try to sell me and you didn't try to push me away. That's what I want.
Yeah.
And this automatic assumption on any given thing that you are the best and know everything about it is how I see that in curiosity you're talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like he's incurious because he doesn't feel like he feels like he already knows.
Right.
Or he may as well already know.
Yeah. And will very much kind of like talk loudly about how either it doesn't matter or he's got it, but he just doesn't want to tell you. And like
that's so I don't want to tell you thing is so like So I mean, I'm stop apologizing for it. It's our show. We do what we want. But so I didn't follow like election stuff, 6 months ago.
You're not like laying in bed at 4 a.m. like just furiously refreshing Washington Post, like looking for the next horrible thing.
No.
Okay.
Not at all. I didn't watch. And I also like I would read about stuff that guy said and read things about it, just kind of Twitter and everything.
Yeah.
And didn't really watch videos of it because I'd rather just be able to get it quickly. The same reason why I want a written tutorial rather than a YouTube tutorial. I would just read a news story that would say like, give me the bullet points of something.
Right.
So I started actually seeing Trump in action, talking and everything.
Around the debates, right?
From the debates. It's incredible. Like how unpleasant and just like spider aura he gets. Like there's a Warren Ellis comic about ex-secret agents who live in LA called Desolation Jones. And there's a lady who they did like a pheromone experiment with her where she has something called like the spider aura. And if you like, is what she calls it. And if you're like, look at her, you get this feeling of like there's spiders on me, like this kind of gross thing. And it's used so she could be a better spy. Like people don't want to look at her.
Oh,
like,
it's like the S&M stuff in the filth.
Yes. Yeah. It's a very similar idea. Like she's beautiful. Like she's a good looking person, but people are just uncomforted by her, you know? And that's how I feel about listening to him talk or seeing him in action.
Yeah.
Like it's really down to my, like on a base level, I'm just like, this is a bad person. And this is a bad way to comport yourself. And like everything about these values are the opposite of my values.
Yeah. And like, that's what makes it so difficult to even approach this. Like that's how this is such a polarizing thing, is like, you know, I probably, big surprise, I probably would have preferred Sanders. Okay.
Oh yeah.
But I'm going to vote for Hillary just because of whatever. I already have, like, the ballot's in the mail.
Yeah.
But like, I forget what I was even going to say. Fuck. What was I saying, Gary?
You were saying it makes this whole thing difficult because...
Oh yeah, because the exact same things that I find repugnant about the other side's guy are the same thing that the other side loves about him. And it's like, there's like the Venn diagram, like, you know, it's the sun and Pluto.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing, right? Like, because there's every once in a while I will see kind of a mealy-mouthed like Facebook post or something like that about like healing the divide in the country. You know, like it's like we need everyone to be on the same side. And I don't know about that, man. Like I'm pretty skeptical of that idea because it's very hard for me to think of like I don't want to go to war with people who appreciate that, but it's very hard for me to think of like that kind of common ground or the value in uniting with somebody who looks at somebody who is like that and is just like, you know what, I like this dominance play he did during this debate. Yeah. Like the fact that he did this was like a pro dom move. He's shutting her down because he's a
master persuader.
Yeah, yeah, and it's rooted. The things that I dislike about him, these kind of moral values, like those actions are rooted in that. They don't exist in a vacuum.
Right.
You know, like the things that make him treat, these journalists and people this way are rooted in these like isms that this guy just goes whole hog into.
Yeah.
You know, like, and it doesn't matter how many times he says that he doesn't. It's like, oh, your behavior is incredibly sexist. Like,
yeah,
you're real sexist, bro. Listen, bro.
Hey, bro.
Yo,
listen,
Trump,
I'm gonna tell you this because I'm your friend.
Like, just, you know, and put my arm around you and be like, listen, guy, you're being pretty sexist out there. And then just like, no, I'm not. And it's like, well, okay.
Like,
you know, and that's what I feel about like how these
in your teeth. No, I don't.
Yeah, okay. You know, nobody knows about having lack of spinach in their teeth more than I do. Okay. You know, and it's just that the people who it is such a like relating to that, even if it is, and he's been so useful in kind of being an extreme example to where like, even if like you're one issue, like let's say you have a reasonable but still kind of, you know, a reasonable stance on immigration, like that is not rooted in racism, but you do feel like, you know, you are very into border control and like you actually, true believer, it is not secretly for racist reasons, you know, which I think is like a lot of that language kind of sounds like that to me. But like, let's say so that's your number one thing.
Yeah.
Everything else about this person should disqualify him for you to where no matter how much you weight that first issue, you are suspect because those other things have not, you know, undone it for me.
Right.
You know, like it is pretty rare that like I don't, you know, that I come away from one of these things that's like, you know, I have friends who are more conservative than I am, but this is like the test of like the absolute grossest extension of that thing. You know, this is every single thing you should say no to and disqualify somebody based on. Yeah. All in one human being. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it's depressing and it's sad. And thankfully I'm not seeing an awful lot of it. Like I get a little bit more of it from my family than most. But even then, like, it's like, you're smarter than this. Like, don't like, just don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. But like the effect that this is going to have, and I'm not saying anything new. Nothing we've said is new so far. So I apologize. So if you're a Trump supporter, get fucked.
I don't have.
Like, I don't want to hear from it. I don't want to hear it.
Like it's and it's not like I understand. It's so funny to me when people accuse us of like putting on a thing to get more listenership, and it comes up more with Bonfire Side Chat. But like, yeah, that's not what this does.
No,
you know, this is the opposite of that. But like,
we're alienating people because you never make friends by talking about politics. You really don't.
No, it is. And this is also, like you said, this is not new material. Like the entirety of the entertainment industry is on one side in this.
Right.
Like literally anybody whose job it is to create art is like pretty much on one side of this. So it would make sense for us to be on that side as well.
Right. Yeah, but like, well, like what this has done, and like the thing that's like that is going to make just this country really shitty to live in for a while is like everybody is gone for the bag of money from the bank that was stolen, and then just like when he implodes, like the ink packets are going to blow up, and people are going to be walking around marked with this red paint, and it's be like, oh yeah, okay, so now I know where you stood on this, and like,
yeah,
I don't know,
and it's not. I mean, it sucks. It's going to make things really shitty. I don't really know. Like again, I don't think that the end goal or like the ultimate kind of thing we want is just to have those, you know, I'm not saying that we need to deport those, you know, anything extreme like that,
Yeah.
but I feel like these are such moral issues that like, yeah, I want to know somebody who's on that side.
Yeah.
You know, like I kind of want to know what that is. And it doesn't mean it's actionable. Like I'm going to do anything with that knowledge, but I'm fine not, interacting.
Yeah.
You know, with people for whom that is true. Like this does feel like a test where like, if that's you, like that, I'm okay with that not being around me.
Yeah.
Because this is as extreme an example of that as we get.
Yeah.
So yeah, and it's germane to this game because this is making fun of the David Cameron guy who was involved in that Brexit thing. And like, the thing I keep seeing on Twitter is that
David Cameron isn't even the Trump over there. Like it's Nigel Farage. Like David Cameron is like the milquetoast like Bush figure.
Yeah. So it gets worse. And people I keep seeing on Twitter where it's like, hey, people, you know, Trump's behind. You think he can't win, but that's what we thought about Brexit. You know, and all those people who voted for it or didn't vote because they didn't think it could happen, and there's a parity there with our third party candidates here. Yeah. You know, it is a thing.
Yeah. And can I have a very special like Jerry's final thoughts moment about this? Like,
yes.
If anybody is listening to this and feeling really upset, like we're taking a shit on conservatives, I probably don't agree with you on stuff. It frustrates the fuck out of me that because this circus clown has run, we can't actually hear about issues. Like we can't have a conversation because he is the center of all of it. And so you should feel fucking infuriated too, because this sideshow has run away and we're going to be mired in this for fucking decades.
Yeah.
So like
he's done more damage to that party.
Yeah.
Than anything else. You know, like and this is assuming that we don't wake up in nightmare land where he wins, but like right. if assuming he loses, which I think he will, he's done more damage to the name and kind of image of conservatism in general.
Right.
You know, and to that party than anything else could have. Mm-hmm. So you guys got fucked.
Yeah.
And here's the thing too, and this is I'll go this far. I'm not necessarily pulling you along with me, but like there is this idea out there that like, oh, he is the bad one, but there's an element like those things, the things that he is liminal about are extensions of things that are subliminal in a lot of conservative policies.
Yep.
So he's just, I'm not saying that like every conservative person is walking around being as sexist as he is. Being against, reproductive rights is a sexist policy. And this is an extension of that. Like he is the ultimate extension of that.
Right.
So there's some truth there. Like it's not, he doesn't represent you entirely, but there is an element of like that being an exaggeration that tells a little bit of the truth.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes up to me and they're like, I don't, like when it gives me like a kind of like boilerplate kind of conservative response on one of these things, like I don't see you as being as extreme as he is, but that is the worst possible version of you.
Yeah.
And that's worth reflecting on. Like the fact that this has become that those kind of ideas are being singled out and shat upon. Those are rooted, or those have grown from the same roots as these kind of more moderate versions of those things that are also bad.
The thing that chills me to my core is, okay, so we defeat this dragon. All right, great. All of a sudden, it's kind of like Obama being elected. Which is like, all right, there's a brief cry like, hey, racism is dead. We've got a black president. Yeehaw, Yahoo. Well, actually, no, it actually just made things not worse, but brought a lot more to the surface. Like we're still so far away from even getting close there. I can hear somebody telling me stay away from society, stay away from all this kind of stuff. Stick to games. No.
Yeah.
but it's like we're going, like Trump's going to go down. He's going to implode, any number of things. But somebody else will pick up that mantle. Those ideas are still out there. Somebody will see what kind of like minor fervor that was brought up, and like a more effective demagogue is going to come in and sweep. Like 2018 is going to be a goddamn bloodbath.
I don't know about that. Like, I feel like that could happen. I also feel like this could be the marginalization that some of those values need.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if that's overly optimistic of me, but like part of me feels like in some ways this does expose some of those values as being the grossest possible version of themselves, which is always there.
Yeah.
So seeing it maybe will help it isolate it,
It still would have been awful if Ted Cruz got it,
Oh yeah.
Like it would have been slightly less awful if Jeb got it, but like still, like that is still over there.
Yeah. And before, again, just like cutting off people before they add us and stuff, like, I'm not a gigantic fan of Hillary Clinton. Like she's good. She's fine. She's like 1,000 times too hawkish for my taste. And that's like really my thing that I'm not super into.
Yeah.
But it is just a question of like being, not even just being better, but just also not being like a disaster like which the world has never seen.
Right.
Again, nothing new.
Yep.
But I don't know. Like, I think that like there's a lot of interesting, like one of my favorite things to come out of this as far as kind of reading and kind of pop politics reading are the really sympathetic reads of supporters. Like I've read like a bunch of different kind of essays that are very, very sympathetic, very like kind-hearted reads of what's going on with these people, because it's very easy to
is
step
real.
back.
I'm not going to say the pain isn't real.
100%. I am like so on board with that. Like, this is, these people are victims too. The people who are being taken in by this, the people who are kind of being forced to make that moral decision that I am kind of calling them out for, of like, yes, border control is more important than every single other thing this person stands for. But like that has been really, really good reading and has been really interesting as far as understanding kind of like what it's like to be poor and white in this country. Is like the commonality. It's not entirely that, but like the working class, poor white people who are kind of coming over to this thing. I have sympathy for that.
Yeah.
I want those people to be helped and better.
Yeah. I wish that they had a less destructive, I wish everybody had a less destructive advocate. Like, somebody who was looking out for everybody. And I'm getting into pablum here, but like, I said that and I kind of deflected away from it because like I was about to say, I wish they had a more effective advocate, and like just that's everybody, Yeah.
I would like it not to come to this. So it is just, it's interesting times. It is going to serve as like I think that you're right in that it's not going to be over. When it's over,
right?
Regardless, which I just don't necessarily think that like, I think that we will get like some violence will happen. I don't think that we will have. I didn't
mean to laugh at that. Like I laughed because you laughed. That was a sympathy.
Yeah, and it's a laugh of just Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What a world. I think that we will get like some militia holdups and stuff like that. Like I think that will happen. I don't think somebody's going to come along with a better version of these equally vile ideas and actually succeed.
Yeah.
I really, the optimist in me thinks that it is possible that this has exposed some of these ideas as being as wrong as they are. But I think that they're like, it's just an amazing that like, oh, no matter what happens, like people are going to die over this.
Yeah.
Like what is that? What like, and you can find it like, well, something I'll do is every once in a while somebody will link something political and like never read the comments, but if you read the comments and go to these people's pages, like there's just I know a lot of it's talk, but there are so many people vowing to do crimes in the case of this. And then you have people who are like middle league shitheads, like you have your like Scott Adams's like kind of whipping people up about it, and it is it's going to get bad.
Yeah. And then there's also like the whole alt-right kind of thing. Like that hasn't gone away. Like I'm going to say the fateful words here. Gamergate is still around. They've just been, again, co-opted into a much bigger, darker thing.
Yeah.
In terms of like /Paul and all of that. Like,
yeah, the Breitbarting.
Yeah.
The Pepeing.
Right.
Of things.
Like that's never going to go away, or at least it
No.
won't, for a good long while. As long as like this conversation remains relevant.
This Chan culture, kind of how it relates to this shit. Yeah, it's really gross. And one of the things is, so if somebody's annoyed by listening to this, one of the reasons why I think you could be annoyed, don't, stick to video games. Like, we literally said everything there is to say about this game. Like,
it's very slight.
There's nothing to it. But you could say that, like, this is a very cursory kind of examination of this. And that's true. For this half-hour comedy show, like, this is what we have.
Mm-hmm.
It is not, we weren't going to get down to the bottom of this. So that is something that, like, I think is a true criticism. Still don't at me.
Right. I mean, so the one last thing I had to say about this is it's very obviously like a stunt kind of thing. It was a stunt for a good cause. I have no context to like really truly enjoy the jokes that were in it, but I recognize that they were jokes. And Snake.
Snake is relatively fun.
Yeah.
Snake is relatively fun.
Right.
There you go. Jokes for a good cause. I'm down for.
Yeah.
And like more of that kind of shit.
Yeah. But people could like levy that against us. But where are you going with that? I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like,
just owning it.
I would rather have something like this that's kind of perplexing but has its heart firmly in the right place.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. As I get older, like, that kind of thing gets so important to me. Like, it is like something that I have just a zero tolerance kind of policy for. Like, I'm very, and this is a network policy of non-engagement too, but even just on a personal level, like, I can't tell you how many, like, people I've unfriended and blocked on Facebook because I just don't give a shit anymore. And relatives too. Like, I just don't, like, whatever that is, I cannot interface, with somebody who is like, oh, like, trans bathroom bills are for men to get in the bathroom and prey on women. Jesus. And it's like, I can't, I'm not going to, I cannot do it. It doesn't matter who that person is. They're not worth my time. And I pretty much stay with that. Like, I think that, like, that's served me pretty well.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of, like, hand wringing that comes down about this stuff. Like, we see it in the Slack, like, people are just like, yeah, my uncle, blah, blah, blah. And, follow your own truth. What's worked for me is literally just scorched earth with some things. Like, some things are too much, you know. I feel too strongly about this, and there's nothing to be gained by, like, being in the middle of this.
Yeah.
Like, it's not like, there's a lot of criticism, like, in politics online, where it's like, oh, you're just in this echo chamber. Like, I've done my best to seek out, like, I'm always interested in, like, what's the best version of this argument?
Right.
Like, if somebody thinks this, like, what are the actual educated people saying about this, not just the worst version of the argument. And the best version of it is terrible and still rooted in the same shit for so many of these issues. Yeah. Like, there isn't a good moderate version of some of these issues.
Yep. And there's also, from the other side, oh, well, cutting yourself off from that lets it still exist, and they're in a similar echo chamber. Well, when was the last time you had your mind changed by something that was written in a text field?
Yeah.
But,
I mean, it pretty much typically doesn't happen.
Name a time.
Yeah.
Like, it just, like, it's not it's a fight worth having, but, like, just there's so much more stuff you could do with that time.
It's also, I mean, and that plays, when so much more stuff to do with that time, plays into kind of the general, the beginning of this episode too, where like, yes, I could spend this time kind of entertaining this thing that every single fiber of my being is saying, like, is rooted in evil, or I could spend my very limited time on Earth being around exceptional people who I think, are not evil. Who are kind and want this kind of goodness for people, and are not I don't know, like, it's putting it in kind of storybook terms, but with some of this stuff, I think that's what it is.
Yeah.
There isn't a moderate argument for, like, this kind of, like, trans bathroom things. Like, there's not an argument that is not storybook in its simplicity.
Right.
It is kind of black or white. Like, I don't think there's a gray area to it. And, so I don't want to spend any time with people who are going to, round down to that kind of, to evil.
Yeah.
Like that, Yeah. I don't know, man. It is a trying time to kind of deal with this stuff.
Everything is so weird. Everything's getting more extreme.
I think more often than any other individual thought, I think, what a time to be alive.
Yep.
That sentence, once or twice a day, and it's oftentimes bad. It's not
Right.
it's not in like a good Louis Armstrong way. It is in like, Jesus Christ, like, what a world. It's the the melting from dip. Judge Doom, what a world, not what a wonderful world.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Oh man, it's a the phrase. I forget exactly where I heard it from the first time. I just did a little look here, but like apparently it's a curse. Like, may you live in interesting times.
Yeah. There's a Chinese proverb, right?
It's there's a long Wikipedia article that I cannot distill at this moment, but like it definitely is. It feels apropos to this, and as we've learned, there's always more, and it's always worse.
Yeah.
So.
And again, just like I hem and haw on this episode because that's like the subject, but I'm going to go back to, and after this terribleness happens with this thing, like I am pretty happy surrounding myself with people who I feel like are morally on the same page.
Yeah. Like
it is frustrating, but like I'm going to spend my limited time on Earth not arguing with people, and not not arguing with people about things that I feel like are fundamentally like important. Yeah. Like that. It's been such a fun, it's a weird intersection with that stuff is in dating. Okay. Because if you go online on dating websites and stuff like that, like having this thing that I've realized like our fundamental incompatibilities are kind of new. Algorithmic dating like weeds out a lot of that stuff. Okay. But every once in a while, like I'll be like cruising around on internet dating and be like, oh, this person's like way into guns. Like that's a really good chance this isn't going to work. And then the few times I've kind of been like, no, that's closed-minded. Nope. My instincts were 100% right. And that has a comorbidity with things that are not okay with me. Right. And it's just, I don't know. As I'm getting older, like more team instinct, man. Like instincts are important.
Yep. We've gone a little bit long.
Yeah. This episode is not GTA 5. It's not GTA
it's not
5.
Not GTA 5. Yeah. Gary, we took a game that is distinctly British about British politics and made it into a very sober discussion of American politics. So, yep. Yeah. Hopefully this wasn't again, our show, we do what we want. Hopefully it wasn't boring. Yeah. Because that's not again, not the intention. But people seem to enjoy the relationship talk before. Like, let's just pretend instead of talking about global politics, we're talking about ladies or dudes, whatever. Oh man. Yeah. So this is the last episode. Actually, it's coming out the day before we're doing the Patreon restructure. Which I think we've talked about before, but go and refresh yourself on those new tiers or the revised tiers, because it's going to be easier to get some cool stuff, including a bonus episode of this show. There's also, so we're changing up the structure. If you want to directly select an episode for Abject Suffering, that is at the $25 tier. If you're listening to this and you have been a $25 backer for a while, or if you are kind of like signing on to this, please check your email. After the first and kind of in these first couple of weeks here, you're going to be getting some emails out from here. And those slots are first come, first serve. So if that gets lost in your spam folder, I'm only going to try and reach out so many times. I will make a good faith effort for it, but just watch for it. And you'll see an announcement on Patreon as well and in different places.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we want you to get what's coming to you, but we also can't make a full-time job of reaching out to you. Right. So, if you want to become a patron, you can go to patreon.com/Duckfeed.tv. We're talking about kind of refreshing yourself on those goals. You get a lot of stuff. We're not going to go over all of it, but we really do appreciate it when you do. Yeah. The people who have chosen to support us. Yeah. It's fantastic.
The recent surge in support is very heartening. We've got a new show coming out here in a couple weeks. The Radio Free Midworld, discussion about the Dark Tower series of books.
Yeah. And we got more stuff coming down the line. Other goals. I'm going to talk to you actually, Cole, at some point off mic or off air about putting something between the REM show and like the next one that's significantly more than that. Yes. So I have an idea. Okay. For something there.
Oh, sneak preview.
Sneak preview. Yeah, I mean, it's not preview.
No,
it's just
no.
that there is an idea there.
Something may exist.
But just in order to kind of keep that carrot going.
Yeah.
Because this, the growth has been awesome, and it's allowed us to do stuff like this. Because on paper, this doesn't work fucking at all. Like, this is not a political show. Like, you could actually go and find the Slate Politics podcast and listen to what they're talking about. Do this.
Yeah, like there are much smarter people who probably agree with you. And say more cogent things.
Yeah, as opposed to us, who are just kind of hopefully lovable dipshits who happen to agree with you.
Yeah.
So. So those are all great ratings, reviews, all those things are really awesome. Until then, who is Brexit Dog? who is David Cameron Hogg? Who is Fuck Hogg? Who is Fuck Hogg?